So it's episode 4. We're gonna have a guest today, but we are practicing caution with social distancing.
Okay.
So we've postponed that until next week. We are working on a way to remote our guests in because this may be the new normal for a while.
Yeah, quite a while, I think. Technically, we're not 6 feet apart. I just realized that.
It's okay. It's only for people.
Okay?
It's only for gatherings 10 or more, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So we might get sick, but who knows? We touch the same surfaces.
Yeah, it's too late at this point.
It'd be okay. We're keeping it to ourselves at least. So let's go and run the titles, and then we'll talk a little bit about current events.
Season 2. Let's go.
So, season 1 postponed because of Rona season.
Rona season. Did you coin that, or did you see that somewhere?
No, it's from Nelk. This is a YouTube group. It's a couple guys out in Nelk. They're actually from Canada, but they just drink a lot of Corona. They've got merch. They've got merch called Rona season and everything. Like it's one of their kind of things. And then they now have a shirt that says "A Rona a day keeps the virus away," and it's the Corona season. I mean, it's the coronavirus icon,
right?
And he's got 2 little arms holding 2 Coronas.
Wow!
So it's like
I saw a Spotify playlist, coronavirus playlist,
quarantine playlist.
Yeah, is that not a little opportunistic? What do you think? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I think there's enough. I think me and Jay were talking about this earlier. I can't find anyone who's legitimately like freaked.
Sure.
For the sickness.
Yeah.
Maybe you are. I don't know.
Definitely not for the
scared
sickness.
of getting sick?
No.
I did joke with Nick about that or I told you about this too. I feel like through November and December he had it.
Right.
Like I feel like it's already made its rounds through Eastern North Carolina. So
we'll see. I was just over at Food Line, and probably 20% of people there had masks on. I mean, it was just pure chaos. Yeah. Everybody was just loading up anything and everything they could find. I mean, now that all the bars and restaurants are closed, it's, shopping carts full of beer and frozen pizzas and, I mean, everything that you can think of.
I loaded up last night. I went and bought enough groceries but I bought things that could last. So if 3 weeks from now we're told to stay home, like officially stay home, I can live 3 weeks from now. But it's not like I'm freaking out and locking my doors tomorrow.
Yeah.
And even then it was empty.
Well, I think as long as the the Uber Eats and the various deliveries and drive-thrus and whatnot are still open, it's I don't think there's true mass panic until something like that happens.
Now, becoming an Uber Eats driver, that's opportunistic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But hey, I mean, you do what you can. I mean, how many people are losing jobs like restaurants closing and you can't even be a waiter or waitress anymore?
There's nothing wrong being opportunistic unless people don't like it.
Sure.
Out of spite. I don't care.
Sure.
It's solving a problem.
So what about the guy that got 17,000 hand sanitizers? Is that not a little excessive on the opportunistic side?
He's a hustler, man.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. He's a hustler. Free time.
Yeah. I would buy some from somebody.
Yeah.
Probably not hand sanitizer, but like soap and toilet paper. Yeah. Yeah. I can't find toilet paper anywhere.
No, I went, that was the second time I've been to Food Line right before the show. I went right at 7 this morning just to, hey, maybe they stocked overnight and I'll be, first one in to grab it.
Oh, there's probably people who are just sitting. I saw a meme that said the people who are winning at the coronavirus are the extreme couponers.
Stocked up, ready to go.
But I bet you there's a lot of people who are going to buy toilet paper in bulk once it actually gets leveled out.
Yeah.
And then we'll never have another crisis like this in our life. But they'll have a closet full of toilet paper just in case we ever do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's funny to watch on Amazon and just search toilet paper, do a refresh. Something will come on there and it'll be shipping from, I don't know, some random place, like $75 shipping charge. And it'll say 7 left, refresh, 3 left, refresh, gone.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just impossible for them to keep up with it. They actually just announced that they're no longer shipping anything that's not related to like primary goods.
Yeah. They're they're also hiring 100,000 people.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and then everyone in the warehouse and driving delivery getting $2 raise. They made that announcement publicly too.
Not such a bad thing.
I wonder if Amazon employees heard about that beforehand. You know what I mean? Like if you were off and you read it in the news, or they send like a company-wide email.
I was gonna say, how do you think they distribute something like that? Email?
Or like a morning meeting? I don't know what day-to-day is like.
I mean, how many people are gonna? I mean, warehouse people check their email on it, right? Like we live on email.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Like a memo.
They probably saw it. Most of them in the news.
They may have sent it out and tried to do their best to get it to people, but there's probably a fair amount who saw it on the news first. Oh, we got a raise today, and they saw it from the news, and it's like, is this true? Yeah, check your email. Oh, I never check my email, and they go check their email.
Oh, hey, got a nice little raise today, 15%.
Yeah, we're gonna work you like a dog for the next 2 months, but you get $2 more an hour for the next 2 months too. So it is temporary. It's not permanent.
Yeah. So they said, with this in mind, we're temporarily prioritizing household staples, medical supplies, and other high-demand products coming into our fulfillment centers so that we can more quickly receive, restock, and ship these products. Pretty much holding on everything else.
I wonder what they're doing with the grocery side of things, like how they're handling the whole food side.
I know that's still happening. I mean, it's still there. It just says, like, when you go to check out, you can add stuff in your cart, and it just gives you that warning of, hey, we may not have this.
Yeah. I was telling the guys earlier, I was going last night, and I wasn't getting, like, exorbitant amounts of things. I was getting, like, 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there. Like, I got 2 boxes of cereal and stuff like that. But you could see, like, clear sections, like Pop-Tart section, completely blown out. But, like, all the healthy bars, still there.
Still there.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so if you like, either you're going for the cheapest or you're going for whatever is the most easy. So, like, I eat Nutri-Grain bars at home for breakfast a lot. So I was able to get my 2 boxes of Nutri-Grain bars like I always do. 1 strawberry, 1 blueberry for those who care. And then I wasn't concerned by the Pop-Tart box being blown out.
Right. Have you seen the memes of the meat frozen sections, and it's just the vegan refrigerated foods that are left?
I saw that, yeah. The plant-based stuff.
The plant-based stuff, yeah.
I did see here, I went to 3 grocery stores through the weekend because I kept checking back because my fiance doesn't have any toilet paper at her apartment.
That's a problem.
Yeah, luckily I had like an 8-pack, so I was able to give her some. But like we just kept checking, like genuinely needed it. It was not in crazy hysteria. And kept checking different places when we would go buy them. And all of the meat was gone. The 6 different times I went to the grocery store over the weekend, all the meat was gone except for the fish. In Food Line, Walmart, Aldi, and Target.
Wow. I guess Eastern North Carolina doesn't eat seafood?
I guess not. I'm talking like legit fish too, not shrimp and crab and stuff like that. Like actual like salmon fillets, whiting fillets, tilapia.
Wow.
So if you like salmon, like I do, I picked up salmon last night, but I didn't get any like hamburger or anything like that. Like you can't find hamburger anywhere from what I'm hearing.
Wow.
It's crazy.
It's going pretty wild. That's for sure.
But
so, I mean, let's bring this back to agency world, and what are we seeing, and what are we seeing with others right now? I mean,
everybody's not closing, but a lot of agencies are working remote. A lot of the bigger ones in our state anyway, but I think a lot of that has to do with the amount of people they have.
Sure.
So I guess that's wise in that regard, and then seeing a couple who are being pseudo opportunistic in regards to like, we're here for this community, and then they swing it back with some type of like pivot offer, which is good, but I feel like it needs to be like 2 separate things.
Yeah.
To me personally.
Yep, I agree.
Like closing all the restaurants at 5:00. Well, your favorite restaurant might be doing online ordering now because their waitress drives for Uber sometimes, and she can drive. She doesn't have a dining room to serve, but she can drive and deliver food.
Yeah.
So it's how, that same restaurant may need to be letting everybody know, hey, we do online ordering. Well, digital advertising, they are available. Let them know. They're on their phones more because they can't be restaurants or anything. Continue to show them that. or they go to your website to see if you do online ordering. So adding those features. So it's kind of like, whereas this company I'm referencing, one of the main ones I saw, they're kind of like, they were early on this, hey, we'll switch you to e-com. Let's go.
Sure.
Whereas this is kind of like, the right message, in my opinion, should be, we're able to move quickly to allow you to accommodate and still serve your customers.
Right.
So like building out an online ordering thing, even if it's as simple as a form that we would build
That's
out.
actually, so I wrote out a letter to our clients last night, and that was speaking exactly what you just said. We're here, still available, can turn things around quickly for you. Just reassuring that whatever capacity it is, we understand. Here's our backup plan. Here's this. Here's our availability. It just simply we're here for you, and nothing as we've not been upended. We're here. And I actually, one of my bullet points in that, and I had written it out, and I erased it was going into talking very specifically about what different opportunities there are right now that you could capitalize on. Of course, I could not figure out how to word it without it sounding like we were truly being opportunistic. So it was like, hey, here's all these great, nice things that you're saying, and reassuring that my dollar's with you, and something as simple as just my website being hosted is hosting's not going to go down, things along those lines, and then it's here's an opportunity for us to make more money in this. And I felt, to your point, that should be twofold. Save that for another day. But
yeah, it's like we talked about this morning. We had a lot of people, like several website clients yesterday, call us and say, hey, we need to add an alert bar. Hey, we need to add a banner. Hey, we need you to make this. Hey, we need you to make that. And then just before this started, I was talking with one of the designers, and he was talking about all the ads they're making right now. It's like, hey, we offer online ordering, or hey, we're still open, or blah blah blah. Sending these new these. So it's nice to see how people they're not immediately running away from what they're doing. They continue to use it as a tool. Which is good, because both of us had a conversation yesterday morning when I came in. It's like, oh yeah, I just know calls are going to come in. And now these aren't like huge money making things, and we're not like going crazy over them. But the fact that these restaurant owners are being told to close at 5, and they immediately turn around to change their messaging, not their plan.
That's right.
Is encouraging.
That's right. It is very much so. They've got to. I mean, you have to adapt to survive in anything, and especially during times like these. You have to. I saw in China, it was the last 2 weeks. This was a couple days ago, but the 2 weeks prior to that, screen time was up 20% across the board. And I was actually surprised it wasn't more than that.
Yeah.
And I just, it's an obvious. It's like, what do people do? You're home. You're going to have screens in front of your faces.
Well, what do you do besides read or, stare at a screen?
Yeah.
And if you're working remote, you're going to have to be staring at a screen even more.
Listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about that. We were talking about that earlier too. It's like, whatever we do, we don't need to pause. Like, we don't need to slow down with shows on the network. Is because, like, people, if anything, people have more time to listen.
That's right.
/ watch while they're working, do whatever.
Yep.
I'm surprised it's not higher too. That screen time stuff.
Yep.
If not, just probably that 2 weeks though. They probably got tired of it. They probably were like, "This is driving me crazy. I need to stop looking at it."
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, how many stories have you seen? People coming together and singing, together.
Yeah, I saw that.
Things along those lines.
I saw somebody share that, and they're like, "Just so everybody in my apartment complex knows, if we're quarantined, this is what's happening." I was like, "You would get some rocks, don't you? I know where you live."
All right.
It's interesting to me too how things are going to roll out in regards to maintaining normalcy. So for us, it's like, for so long, it's been time on computers, time at a desk, time on a computer, time at home, on the couch working, time at your kitchen table, doing whatever you got to do, working from your phone. It's like, okay, we're just going to go work somewhere else now if we end up having to do that, or like having to forcefully do that, mandatory. Mm-hmm. But there's so many people that are used to standing in front of people, like teachers or restaurant workers or normal office people who are back and forth in meetings, and they don't do any type of virtual stuff. The only way they communicate is via email, and they don't use Slack or any type of messaging system like that. They don't use a project management tool. Everything's through email or paper or spreadsheets or boards everywhere.
Right.
So it's having to upend. And I was thinking almost a way of like, how do we extend that out to a client? Again, not seeming opportunistic, but how do we extend out our like project management capabilities and facilitate them transitioning their business into a long-term remote, whether that be setting up project management, communication, all that type of stuff. But
no, you're exactly right. I mean, we do this stuff every day, right? Working with different tools and applications and just virtual capabilities.
Right.
And so many different companies they've never had to deal with that. Right. Yeah. And so just even the how-to of, just a quick call with somebody of saying, hey, we use this or whatnot. Yeah. That's some good content for us to put out too. Make a note of that, Christian.
Yeah, we just put a pin.
Put a pin in that guy.
All this content we're supposed to be making. I was talking about this earlier about how companies who are just starting, and we've got some clients like this who just starting, and like their first year, like their story now is their first year of business. A pandemic like no other has hit the globe.
Right.
If they survive.
If the big if.
Yeah, and we were talking about too is like how many industries is this just gonna kill?
It is
an entire industry just being gone.
Yep.
When we come through all this, because who knows how long it's gonna last. But
I was thinking this morning about how just in general through times like these in the last depression, I mean typically you see the strong get stronger through these, and if you're smart about it. And in our business, it's like we were truly the first digital only agency in this town. And now today, 7 years later, it's been, there's shops everywhere. And I really think, which is fine, there's plenty of opportunity for everybody. That's not what I'm saying. It's more of, hopefully all of these different shops, whether they're 1-man or 10-man shops, whatever, that they can push through it. I think the sad reality is, not just here, but everywhere, obviously, that we're going to see some of these ones start to be weeded out. And, I guess that's good for the ones that are in a good position, because it's just kind of takes away anything that's just kind of nipping at your heels all the time.
Yeah.
But
there's the ones that kind of didn't adapt and pivot.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Those are the ones that have always let me articulate this so I don't step on too many toes, but like I told Jay, it's our podcast. I don't care who gets offended. If the ones that were not digital when Red Shark came about, and they were pseudo digital for a while, very shittily digital, and now they've truly kind of just started getting it together. Like some of the projects I've seen coming out.
It's like in the last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or in the last 6 months, really, truthfully, a couple of the main ones. And some of them who are still doing it, but not doing it well. And I don't even think they know they're not doing it well. I think this type of thing will end up hurting more. It'll hurt more than the not being. They had a slow process. It's like, things are transitioning, but this is going to be transitioning fast.
So we all know behind the scenes, though, that still majority of their business relies on traditional based. Whether what they're projecting, right, and doing more and more digital. That I think my personal opinion is that they're going to really struggle with times like this. I mean, we all saw, obviously marketing budgets as a whole went down in 2008, 2009, but paid advertising budgets during that time for digital only went down 9%. Yeah. And I just think we're going to see a swing this time. It's not going to be a downward swing. I think overall that paid advertising dollars in the digital world is going to increase this time.
I think it's going to increase because they don't have, like you said, the screen time. Screen time's going up. Yep. The attention's going up. It's just figuring out the best way to capture that attention now, knowing everybody's going to be competing for it.
Yep.
And if you weren't, so I almost think it's going to, whether we see it through this or we see it afterward, I think it's going to boom. I don't know when that's coming. You know, I don't
We're
know
already seeing cost per clicks, cost per actions going down, like
Yeah.
on all of our social campaigns, and that's a good thing in terms of the people that are going to stick with it,
right.
and they can capitalize. I think that'll, to your point of, hey, overall we're gonna see that increase. That's gonna go back up, but for right now, that's an opportunity for. I mean, we don't make any more money on that. That's the client getting more bang for their buck with their paid ads. So,
do you think that this is something we haven't talked about yet? While several of these things we've talked about already before talking now, we haven't talked about this. Do you think that what does this mean for the niched agency? So we talked about that a couple years ago about niching into a certain industry,
right?
And we still have a relatively wide net in regards to we're niched in the budgets we'll take in, but we're not niched in the clients we'll take.
That's right.
Or industry. So I'm interested to see the ones who are niched down, how, like someone who only works with real estate agents.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're going to see the agencies that are truly, if they're niched down into e-com, they're going to do great.
Yeah.
Right. Think about some of these agencies that are solely focused on retail or the travel industry. I mean, they're getting annihilated right now.
Yeah. So I'll show you a real world example from the last day or two. I looked at flights to Hawaii.
Just because?
Yeah, just because. No, but that's where we're going for a vacation. I mean, not vacation, for honeymoon. We were going to do Italy, but then all of this happened.
Why? What happened there?
Well, we'd probably be okay by the time we get there.
If you could get there.
Probably be a little less crowded, unfortunately. That's a little morbid, but anyway, we were looking at Hawaii just to be domestic because, we're thinking it'd be better than going over there to the epicenter of all of it. And we looked at flights for just Comfort Plus on Delta for two people round trip was going to be over $5,000.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now Delta is kind of middle of the road in regards to expensive. You know what I mean? So it's not like the cheapest flight. Anyway, that same flight is we could fly a round trip with one stop in the middle for right at about $1,950, I think.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah. So it's dropped like crazy.
That's incredible.
And that's still, that's a June flight.
Yeah.
That's not a 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now flight. That's a June flight.
Have they updated their policies in regards to refunds and cancellations?
I don't
changes?
know. Yeah. I don't know. If the government shuts you down, I think you have to. I don't know how that works, but
they're still right now. They're still up in the air. I've got a buddy coming down to Wilmington this weekend from Chicago, and he just texted me and said, I just booked my flight. It's less than $100.
Yeah. I would still fly.
Yeah.
Like me personally, I would go fly. Now, if I was someone who gets sick a lot, probably not.
Sure, exactly.
I would be smart about it, but I'm not the person. Like I get a cold like once a year.
Yep.
And that's about as sick as I ever get. So.
All right.
But back on the niche stuff, I think you're gonna have to pivot out. You're gonna have to pivot out or do something different because some of these industries have a long uphill battle.
They do.
And we're not even through. I think it's going to continue like the government level reactions are going to continue to shut things down, and when they finally hit, like they're just going to slowly slow down businesses. Not every industry can pivot the way the restaurants are.
Yeah.
And it's not inspiring, but it's just interesting to me, the kind of resilience from those restaurant people.
It is, yeah.
Because
it's scary.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's like even if it was our industry and the government was coming down and saying you have to close your doors.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
All office buildings have to close. Yeah.
Which may not be that far away. As far as just closing office buildings, but
right.
The scary thing with those agencies that are niche down that far is that trying to figure out how to position yourself into something new. And it's like, well, your entire, if you're, super niche down to any of those, and that's all you have, all of your work to show. I mean, of course you're skilled and able to do other things, but trying to position that to a new client I don't know. I think that's a tough sell.
I remember I'm in a group I'm in about that niche down. They were niche down where they only wanted to work with breweries. But then they said that they weren't niche down enough. So they only wanted to work with breweries that had a social justice undertone, like a reasoning behind it. So they niched down even further into this like very niched industry. And while I don't think that industry is going anywhere, I don't think that's going to be affected crazily. It was interesting, but thinking about that person, like if the brewery industry all of a sudden got slapped with red tape and couldn't function, like not only is the industry gone, but they've niched themselves into this weird, bizarre corner of it, and having to you float back up. All right, so you can go in the breweries which are shut down. You can go into the public, social justice style stuff. Well, if right now nonprofits are going to struggle pretty heavily because a lot of the grants and things that people would be given or donations that would be funding them,
it's all on hold,
are going to be going to keep things afloat. They
were just talking about in the next 2 weeks, everybody getting a check.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they didn't say how much, right?
They were floating around 1,000 per adult, 500 per child, but nothing's been definitive. The only thing definitive really that, and it's not even been signed, but I mean, they've at least come out and stated it, was that within 2 weeks, Americans will receive that.
Right.
That's, if you think about that as a whole, and with somebody like,
what's there, 4 billion adults in the United States?
No, it's not that much. In the U.S.?
Yeah, there's 8 billion worldwide.
Hey, we need a factoid checker over here. What do we got? How many U.S. adults? I feel like it's like 400 million.
Yeah.
Bear with us. What do we got?
What's the population of the U.S.?
In 2009.
18 or over, it's
209 million. So I was wrong. Just flat wrong.
You were a little off there.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, where I was going with that was that it's unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
For something like that to happen, especially with an overall conservative political leadership in office right now. I mean, it's like, in terms of people kind of looking at that as a handout, which, I in a situation like this, the whole world has never been through it. Our country has never faced anything along these lines. I think it's completely the right thing to do in terms of just overall stimulus. And I believe what they're trying to do is that they're trying to save Main Street right now.
Right.
And before that gets wrecked and it again tumbles Wall Street. So I really think it's the right move. And it's good to see some of these banks coming out and talking about, hey, we're going to be here. We're going to be the ones that this go around rely on us. We're not going to be the bad guys this go around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely some positive things there. It's just a matter of, saying and doing is two different things.
That's always the case. I think that the stimulus is needed. It's just like, is this going to be an executive order, or is this going to, because Senate's not even looking at the stimulus package from last month.
Or is this going to have to go through bill? And,
yeah, because I don't even know when it's on the schedule for the Senate to look at it, because they're looking at the anti-spying laws or whatever now, which is anti-surveillance, which is good to be looking at, but the stimulus isn't being looked at. And then it was sent to Congress over 2 weeks ago now. So it's like, we need help. Well, you're kind of blaming the wrong people. Like, look, write to your Congress people, write to your senators, do whatever.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it's interesting in the work remote model, because they're eiling on the side of normalcy, maintaining normalcy until we can't, but also being responsible. So we joked about if we were in our location previous to this one, where everyone sat 5 feet from one another, we would
almost touching elbows.
Yeah, we would be completely, like, we would tell everybody to be remote. by now.
For sure.
But knowing that everywhere has their space and everyone can shut their door or have space from one another, but also maintain a sense of normalcy, is almost like a value that it's kind of hidden, like unexpected value.
Yep.
Because I lean on the side of, I think that as these reactions continue to escalate, I think that we will see businesses of 15 or less should close, or something like that. Like I think that may be what happens, because I feel like the government's reaction is happening at a much faster rate than the circumstances are.
Sure.
Especially like in our own state, from my opinion. And with that, it's like we haven't made a decision for the team. We haven't made it, public or solidified anything, but like making a mandatory remote for our team, knowing our circumstances are fairly safe and healthy, and it's kind of like we can maintain some normalcy.
Sure.
Where the rest of things we can't control could be keeping that routine, keeping normalcy until we can't anymore, as opposed to like putting people in a 2-week mandatory work from home, and then it's a forced work from home from the government, and it's just like
so much.
Yeah, it's stir crazy.
So much, yeah.
Just
now we did close our Raleigh office. I mean, that's a little bit different of a story, right? I mean,
have they closed that building yet?
I haven't received any emails, surprisingly, because I mean, the other day, it was just a few weeks ago, that a bad thunderstorm rolled through at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I got an email that they were closing the office because it was going to rain hard.
When you can't even, like, where you park, you literally go under the building to get to your car.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to go outside.
You don't have to. It's incredible. But I don't know. I mean, obviously that was the right decision there. There's thousands and thousands of people that are in that building every day. But it's a totally different situation here. So.
Even that floor too. I mean, that floor where we are, it's mixed up of a lot of different people, and a lot of different like traveling business people and people who are in Raleigh from another area and using that like part of it as like a day office or something like that, and just people coming in and out and all that stuff. Is so, I mean, that obviously a wise move. That's what I'm surprised about. Not even just the building, but even the office hub that we're in.
Sure.
It's kind of like, I'm surprised y'all haven't.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of people y'all have coming through, because they're not like a group of, it's not like the architecture firm across the hallway. It's there's a lot of people in there.
Right. One thing I want to touch on during this today was just, some of the different ways that, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Some of the different ways that I think, different businesses or at least agencies should be talking to their clients about what's going on right now, things that they can update, simple information even from their Google My Business listing. And, what if they've closed the office or they've closed the business and, they can't forward the phone number. You should probably update the phone number to, a cell phone or something like that, or your hours need to be updated, or just put a post out there and say, hey, effective immediately, we're closed until X date. Anything to just keep their customer base informed. I think one of the biggest things that so many businesses miss that try to manage this for themselves, and we've got a handful of clients that we manage this for them, but the ones that try to do it themselves, they never get around to effectively communicating those updates to their customers.
Yeah.
And, whether that be a social post or updating the GMB, like I said, and depending on what the organization is or how big it is, I think it's also important to make sure that whoever is relaying that information is somebody that's valid, credible, an owner of the business or a manager of the business. You don't need, different staff putting out updates that may not be aligned with what you released as kind of like an official update,
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. I think it's important to almost develop, if you don't already have some kind of a formal get together team within that puts these updates out and makes sure that you're communicating this effectively.
Yeah. And so you mentioned something there about don't know how to effectively send their message. Would you agree that comes from people not knowing their audience?
I think so. I think it's a mix of hysteria, in times like these, but honestly, maybe it isn't, because they don't do it regardless. And
yeah,
but it's just that there is a misunderstanding of their customers and not adapting and even, saying, hey, we've got, delivery service available now for free for the next 2 weeks. And just something simple is just like, help keep your doors open here. Let's be smart about this.
Yeah. They were just talking to me about an ad they're making. It says delivery and takeout free of charge. But then there's an asterisk at the bottom. It says for an increased price or something like that.
For an increased price.
For added amount or something like that.
See, in my opinion, that's where you step up as a business, and that's like that's what you're doing for the greater good, right? I mean, It makes you look like, hey, you're contributing as a local business or whatever it may be to your community because you're waiving delivery fees or something along those lines. Like we were talking with Jeff that owns a couple local burger places earlier, and he was inquiring about a local delivery service, and I think they charged, I don't know, a few dollars per delivery, and he just went ahead and said, I'm going to eat that. I mean, no pun intended. I'm going to eat that charge, and I told him, I said, you need to make sure that, people know that. You're stepping up, and it's just a few bucks, but hey, that goes a long way when.
Well, and that's even because even like Uber Eats, like I've got a buddy who they own 2 steakhouses, and they were going to do Uber Eats and Grubhub and Diner Dash, whatever it's called, DoorDash. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do all 3 of them, and they didn't do Uber Eats because they're like $16 6-ounce and baked potato and salad. With Uber Eats becomes like $25 because Uber Eats already puts a margin on your item because they take a cut of the product. They take a cut of the meal, but they also take the fee you're paying. So it's like, we didn't do it. So I'm interested to see what the big ones do. Like, how do they cut? It's good to hear restaurants taking that cut and eating that, but it's also like, what are they going to do? Knowing the volume is going to increase, because in every other industry, as volume increases, cost reduces. So I'm interested to see how that affects the big ones. Like you said, the Main Street versus Wall Street, and also the local versus enterprise, how these things grow and change.
Right. I don't know. I saw Uber CFO Nelson Chai on CNBC yesterday, and he was talking about just the breakdown of their business in general. What are they experiencing with everything going on? And so 25% of their business is Uber Eats. The other 75% is obviously Uber. He said they've already experienced a massive decline. He didn't state what it is, just a massive decline in regular Uber, but they're already obviously seeing an uptick in Uber Eats.
Yeah.
And it'll be really interesting, kind of fun to watch how it changes a business like that, depending on how long this goes, how much of that is now going to become a part of their business. Can they sustain that? And what's going to happen when things do get back to normal and it's, I don't know, begins to decline? How much of that is going to change their entire business?
Right.
I don't know.
I think that'd be an interesting question to ask, like a poll with one of our followings we have on different network platforms. It would be like, rank these in things you wouldn't do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fly, take an Uber, eat in public somewhere random, cruise. Yeah, like,
well, you can't take a cruise; those are definitely shut down.
Yeah, and then like a fourth option for like, rank these in like you would never touch it. I think taking an Uber would probably be pretty high. Well, it depends on where we are, I guess. Like if we're in a bigger city, I probably wouldn't take an Uber.
No, I definitely would not. You would not catch me in an Uber.
Where we are now, maybe. I don't want to take the Uber in Greenville anyway.
No, definitely not. There's no telling who's going to pick you up.
Those guys, Nelk, they did obviously they did like the Rona shirt, Rona season shirts, but they did a coronavirus prank. But they filmed it last Monday, so it was before it got super crazy in America, and he wrapped himself in cellophane wrap and had like completely like his whole body except for like right here, so he can actually talk through it. Like right here, so he can actually talk through it. And he called an Uber, and like he had his phone like this, and he's like, "Can you tap it so they know I'm here?" And he's like, can you sanitize everything? He's like having his Uber driver wipe everything down. He's like, all right, can you wipe me down a little bit? And then like he's like a mummy and like just push me in.
Jeez.
And then the Uber
That's
guy drops
great.
him off, and his dad runs up. He's like, "You left before you were sprayed down." He's got Lysol spray, and he's just spraying him down. He's just standing there wrapped in cellophane wrap, just like being safe. And the Uber driver obviously is just sitting there like,
what's going on?
yeah, they're teasing when they've set up a
Yeah.
quarantine tent in their foyer of their house,
Mm-hmm.
and they tease next week's video. They've ordered a pizza, and they've got three people that live in their house in hazmat suits, and the Domino's guy like walks in, and they like spray him down with this industrial Lysol spray. It was like a fire extinguisher. It's just like,
Just see his reaction.
yeah, those types of things. It's like, I think where we are right now, America still sees humor in that. Like America's not like, oh, don't.
Well,
talk
until
about it,
you
don't
start
talk about it.
seeing thousands and thousands of deaths, that's when
Yeah.
social justice warriors are going to come out. And
Oh, they're
say,
gonna be like, oh yeah,
"That's
don't
not
do that.
funny."
That's not funny.
That's
And then
not
YouTube's
funny.
gonna remove it.
Yep.
But it's also, I think it's interesting to me too, is like the people who are talking about, oh, we're very sanitary and we're sanitizing everything. First of all, you're a restaurant. You should have been sanitizing everything anyway.
No way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just,
Washing your hands on a
Yeah.
regular basis.
or like the salons and hair and barber shops and tattoo shops. We take sanitation very seriously. We're taking the utmost caution. Why weren't you doing this
What
anyway?
were you doing before that?
You shouldn't have to tell us this. It doesn't make us more comfortable. It makes us uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable to go back to them
Yeah.
after things are back to normal.
What are you doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's good to know that there's like everything like this, there's going to be industries that find a new light to shine through it.
Right.
There are going to be people, just like when 9/11 happened and just like when the stock market crashed, there are going to be people who are of the crook variety.
There
and
are.
take advantage and
Yeah.
gouge and take advantage and gouge. Luckily, we as a society are pretty on top of that right now.
Yeah, you'll get shut down pretty quick.
Or canceled if there's no actual law to do it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just important as a whole right now that everybody is in agency world is you're talking to your clients. Don't ignore
yeah,
this. And, don't appear opportunistic. Talk to them about how to change your messaging for, campaigns. I was talking to a partner yesterday that has a dentist not too far from us, and I was telling her, she was talking about how they don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's not, you don't have to go to the dentist right now, right?
Yeah.
And, people that are going to the doctor, like I told you right before we started the show, my 1-year-old has yet again another double ear infection. So now she's got to go to the doctor's office 3 days in a row to get a shot. My wife pulls up. They made her stay in the car the entire time. They had an escort come out, walk them back to the room. They did everything in the room, like payment, the shot, everything, and then had an escort walk them back to the car. And it's just, so my point about the dentist's office and what they're saying is just, who's going to really go get their teeth cleaned right now and just be around that environment if they don't have to?
yeah,
Anyways, I was talking to her and I said, well, why don't you, position some of the messaging with them that's around what's going on right now, try to make it a little bit more relevant. And, like the importance of dental hygiene and how it affects your immune system.
right.
It's not, you're not capitalizing, you're not calling out coronavirus, this and that, but you're being relevant to what's happening right now. And you're still making yourself seem like, hey, this is probably a good idea to continue this forward. And now I didn't go into the medical scientific side of that, whether
Right.
that's true or not, but I mean, it's just looking at it a little bit differently to figure out what can we talk to our clients about and how can we even just update their messaging to make sure that they're staying relevant and doing everything that they can to maintain a relationship with their customers.
Yeah, that's to add on to that with the dentist thing. They could work a way in there to talk about like it's not digestible. Like I was talking a little bit earlier with someone else. Like the reason why places can still serve food is because this virus is not digestible. You can't.
Right.
While it lives on surfaces for 2 to 3 days, it doesn't live on food. Like you can't get it from eating something that's on. So even including something like that, because we have some other dental clients too. Hopefully they'll talk to us before they cancel.
Right.
But I would go to a dentist before I would go to the clinic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, or anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I trust a dentist to be more sanitary. Yeah, sanitary
Sure.
and clean than the other places.
I gotta find this.
I'm surprised they didn't try and separate your wife and 1-year-old, because statistically, based
Sure.
off everything's going, the adult is more of the risk than the child.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Because while they've found that like someone like two humans can pass the virus back and forth, one showing no symptoms, and then that one shows symptoms, they had, to my knowledge, unless it's changed in the last day, they haven't confirmed that a child can pass the virus.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is,
There's been rumors of
Yeah.
it, but no, definitely nothing confirmed. My brother's girlfriend is a nurse at Duke, and we're all in a group chat together. And last night, she said, "FYI, new research is coming out that COVID-19 might also spread through fecal oral route. So clean your tushies and bathrooms."
don't
How
you
about
do
that?
that anyway?
Yeah, don't you do that anyways?
Like,
I can't say I clean the toilet seat every time. You know, in between people. Maybe that's the point that she was trying to make. But
I don't know.
that's fecal oral.
I feel like this is everyone's common sense plague. Like, we're teaching the whole world how to be basically clean.
Well, maybe we should do an episode. It's probably not the right show for it, but just a conspiracy theory episode.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, have I heard everything under this? I know you have too, but
We can do
all
that
kinds of things out there.
this week on Cows Come Home.
you
Everyone
go.
brings a different conspiracy theory for it. that would be fun. Yeah, I'm interested to see the fallout. I'm interested to see what the new normal becomes, how we make that adjust, and then also where the pendulum goes, because we're still pushing the pendulum here from reactions. Like, where does it go when it swings back, and then what is our new normal when it evens out?
I don't think anybody knows until it bottoms out. And from everything that we're hearing, and we're still anywhere from 2 to 4 months. I mean, I've heard from bottoming out.
That's what I mean. Like, our new normal for 2 months is going to be up here,
Yeah,
and then it's going to swing back, and then
Yeah.
we're going to have another one until,
sure.
like, let's rewatch this May of 2021
That will be fun.
and talk about like how things have changed.
Hopefully, it
Since
will
then.
be fun.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, it's going to be fun regardless. You
It
just
will.
gotta.
It will.
That's a perspective problem, but.
All right. So with that being said, make a bet or make a prediction rather of when do you believe everything will be back online, everybody be back in the office, and business as usual per se.
I would say I don't think it's going to be normal. I think people will be back to work at the latest end of May. I
was
think.
going to say June 1, so we're pretty in line with that.
My gut tells me sooner. I think while I love talking about politics, I really talk about my actual opinion, like
Right.
my actual beliefs.
Right.
But I honestly think that when Trump said that about this will all be done by the end of April, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're crazy," da 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 da. I think that there's common sense in that. It's a virus. It's viral. If we do what we're supposed to do, like we're doing now, I think it has potential to be gone. Like I said, latest into May, but I think there's potential for it to be done into April.
Sure.
But I feel like for people to truly believe it's gone and the overreactors to finally admit it and like heed warnings and actually get back to normal, I think it'll be end of May. And I think it will be sometime beginning of Q4 before the general public truly starts to trust the public again.
Right. Right.
Yeah. That's what I talk about with the new
It is.
normal. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be back to work, but I don't know if those restaurants that were closed for 6 weeks 10 weeks at this point, but at that point, I don't know that they'll fill out their locations until the fall.
I saw a good friend of mine over the weekend. He's a physician in the ER, and his prediction on that was as soon as we see these warmer temps turn up,
That's
it's
like
well, like you're right to your
Yeah.
point. It's like everything, any
Yeah.
any viral infection like this. I mean, it's you know,
every
thank goodness that's the time of year that we're at. We're about to come into it.
every virus is like, go sweat it out.
Yeah.
Go sweat it out.
Yep.
And I mean, last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it was 75 degrees, even higher. And then
Right.
it turns around on Sunday. And it's like 25 degrees. It was cold.
it
Like, it
was.
was freezing cold on Sunday.
Yep.
And then it's been cool ever since. And overcast doesn't make anything better.
No,
you
it
know?
doesn't.
But
Nope. Well, do you have anything else you think is relevant to our agency audience in regards to at least what we know today with COVID-19?
I think same thing I said a few moments ago would be the main thing I want people to remember from this is, it's like we talked about yesterday morning, is understand that we can't control what the government does, whether you agree or disagree with their decisions, but it's up to people leaders. So if you're a manager somewhere, business owner, community involvement, things like that, it's up to you. It's your responsibility to control the momentum on the ground.
Yep.
And ultimately, we need to value and protect normalcy with the utmost integrity, I think would be the right word. Because if we are in this for 4 to 6 months, routines, normalcy are going to be what keeps us through and allows us to bounce back. Or there may not be a bounce back.
Sure.
There's not going to be a bounce back.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out that new normal. But protect and preserve normalcy as best as you can, and allow yourself to control the momentum for those immediately around you. That group of 10 that's right around you, that group of 20. Stick on that route.
It can't be 20 spins. It's 10 and less.
Well, it's not a mandate yet. As long as there's not a misdemeanor attached to it, keep doing it.
That's right. That's right. Well, yep, I agree with all that. Communicating, I've said a number of times already on this episode, but just making sure that you're communicating effectively to customers, your staff, whatever it may be, putting different activating your contingency plans that you had to make sure that, yes, you can retain things as normal as possible, but you've also got plans in place for, when it's just absolutely impossible to do that you've got a backup plan and just survive through this. There's such an unknown of, hey, are we going to be done in 30 days or are we going to be done in 3 to 6 months from now? And I don't mean done, but just hey, we've bottomed out. Let's start building back up again and begin to try to get back to that normalcy.
And understand that things aren't going to be what they are.
That's right.
Not in a bad way, but it's like, wow, don't forget it. Like, don't get caught up in the clients who are screaming. Look for the ones who are also still talking to you.
There you go.
Like,
exactly.
We've gotten 2 of our clients we built websites for a long time ago have reached out about major site overhauls this week. So it's like we have room on that side. But also it's like, again, same thing. It's same thing with everything we do in the agency. It's like, how do you get punched in the left side of your face, but also like massaged on the right side?
That's
it's like,
right.
how do you, which do you decide to like really remember? Do you remember the wins? Do you remember the losses? So
I truly think when we circle back and watch this 6 months from now, later this year, whenever it is, that we're going to continue to see one of the biggest changes is the increase in digital. And I know it kind of seems a little cliche to say that, but with everything that's the e-com opportunity for today, the status quo is huge. But to your point that you made a minute ago about even when we do get back to normal and regaining that trust of in person, that's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for agencies, especially obviously in the have any digital capacities, to be thinking about that and what they can capitalize on throughout all this and just be stronger on the back end.
And new business too. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, because those industries that die, those folks aren't going to just sit. They're going to make something. The The successful ones are going to pivot and make a whole new business, and
That's
they're
right.
probably going to look for your services you're not expecting. That's what I mean. It's just like
And learn from their mistakes. So
Yeah.
hopefully they're coming back and they're
with a longer runway.
yeah. Now they're now they're gonna listen to what you pitched to them before.
Only enter into pandemic-proof businesses.
Pandemic-proof businesses.
Yeah.
Can we get a list?
I'll work on it.
Okay.
So I think this has been good so far. Obviously, it's not exactly what we were expecting. No one probably was expecting anything like this from what they've had for the last few days. The plan is to start season 1 next week, jumping back into imposter syndrome with a guest. If that changes, we will.
They may be virtual.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we will definitely continue on with our weekly scheduled podcasts. And so, if you're watching my video, thank you very much. Did you have anything else?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Thanks for joining.
If you're watching my video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe there on YouTube. And if you're listening audio only, thank you so much. Please leave us a review. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. I'm Spencer. This is Chris. We're Agency Basement. See you next week.
Agency Basement is a React Radio production. All contents are filmed and edited in the React studio. For past episodes, as well as our sister shows, check out reactradionc.com. Thanks for listening.